Namaskar, welcome to Toxicology on Board. Today we'll discuss about question number 20, toxic effects, fumigants, dibromochloropropane, DBCP and ethylene dibromide. So one of the important topic in DABT is solvent toxicology. Today we will be able to learn about these two toxicants, dibromochloropropane as well as ethylene dibromide, which are commonly used fumigants. Okay, this question is also taken from DABT recertification. The question is toxic effects of the fumigants dibromochloropropane DBCP and ethylene dibromide include. So let's see what are the options. So today we are seeing two solvents, that is two fumigants, that is dibromochloropropane and ethylene dibromide. So let's see the options. This is a typical structure of dibromochlororopane because we have three carbons, carbon 1, carbon 2, carbon 3, and first and second position we have hydrogen replaced with bromine, that is why dibromo, and on third position it is one of the hydrogen is replaced with chlorine, that's why it is chloropropane. So it is dibromochloropropane, and the second fumigant is here second chemical is here ethylene dibromide. Typical structure of ethylene is ch triple bond ch, okay, or ch2 double bond ch2. Here the one hydrogen is on each carbon is replaced with a halogen bromine, that's why it is ethylene dibromide. Okay, let's see what are the options are. Option A is gastric squamous cell carcinoma in rodents, that is in mice and rats. Stomach gastric squamous cell carcinoma. Since you already know that our cells they contain various epithelial cells, so here the type of cell which is affecting is squamous cell. Okay. Option B is hemolytic anemia. As I discussed in the earlier videos also, there are types of anemias are there. So one of the topic that you people can learn is types of anemia. Then nephrotoxicity. Okay, one of the target organ toxicity is kidney, which I discussed in detail in last video, and delayed neurotoxicity, effect on CNS you can say. So option E is C and D. Let's see what is the right option. The right option is option A, gastric squamous cell carcinoma in case of rodents. So dibromochloropropane as well as ethylene dibromide, it is causing this type of stomach cancer in the case of rats and mice. So let us understand why option A is right and why other options are not right for this appropriate question. So through this question we will be able to learn about all the concepts which are related to this particular topic. Okay, so let us understand before going into these two, specifically discussing these two fumigants, let us understand briefly what is fumigant actually. A fumigant is a toxic, volatile gas or vapor used to kill insects, rodents, or sterilized areas. So what you have to understand is when you're dealing with one of the topic in case of DABT will be pesticide toxicology. In that we have various types, insecticide, weedicide. So here we are discussing today fumigants. Okay, so kill insects, rodents, and sterilized areas. Okay, we have basically three types are there. One is soil fumigants used to control soil borne pests like insects, fungi, and weeds. Okay, as I said, no, fungicides, weedicides, insecticides. They are applied to the soil and form a gas that can move into the air and affect people's health. Actual site of application is soil, but because of its lipophilic nature, or when it is excess is spread still unabsorbed from the soil, those will reach, they form a gas and they reach into the air, and they might affect those humans also, human population also, who are not the targeted or um, uh, see, site of application should be only soil or insecticides. Okay, I hope you are understanding what I'm trying to say. This is a typical you can see how the the fumigants are soil fumigants are applied onto the agriculture crops. Then fumigants for enclosed space used to control insecticides or rodents in tightly enclosed spaces like greenhouses, food stores, and warehouses. So in our office areas or in our homes also we use certain fumigants. Okay, enclosed spaces. So this you can see, probably this might be an office or a residential area. Then fumigants for grain stores used to sterilize grain stores. For example, in warehouses, here also it is given. See, When you're storing the cereals for larger in larger quantities for a long duration time, you do not want any attack by pesticides or by rodents. For that, again, you need to apply some fumigants. Okay, so these are the three types of fumigants that will basically come across. And you might have seen in the previous slide that I have given the reference also from Clayson with the page number I have given. And there was another regulatory body, HAZMAP. That search engine also you can frequently use in order to gain any information, chemistry related information or hazard related information. You can always go through HAZMAP, one of the search engine is there. Okay, so let's see the second slide. Fumigants can be highly toxic to vertebrates, especially in enclosed spaces. What happens in the case of enclosed spaces is concentration of that particular chemical will increase, since there is no way of escaping that chemical from that enclosed space. So whoever enters into such an enclosed space, he is having more likely of exposure and causing toxicity. So some examples of fumigants include ethylene dioxide, which is nothing but CH3CH2O, then methyl bromide CH3Br, phosphine PH3, chloropicrin, and ethylene dibromide. What I am trying to say is that in our question today we are only two fumigants were there, but here I am giving you other examples also. So in order to read for your exam, you can go back to the textbook or any of your reference book. You can go back and read all these five fumigants also. So in future in DABT exam, if you come across any of these as an option or in your question, you will be able to learn. Okay, then fumigant should be used according to the label instructions. As we already know that every most of the toxicologists, they will be knowing that there will be GHS and CLP classification will be there. Apart from pharmaceutical products, as a household products or any chemical related or your reagents which you are using in your lab, they also contain some label instructions, basic how to handle, some pictorial grams will be there, hazard symbols will be there. Okay, the EPA has implemented safety measures to protect agriculture workers and bystanders. Already we know that these chemicals are toxic. That's why such regulatory bodies, they will give some safety measure how to handle those chemicals. Okay, so this structure we have already discussed. One, two. So one first fumigant we are discussing here, Dibromochloropropane. Short form is DBCP. It is an organic compound because basic structure contains carbon and hydrogen, and it is this structure I clearly explained. What is important is that certain times, say you might read about a chemical with only one particular name, but you might get questions in the exam with other names like synonyms. That is the reason this today in this video I stress to explain, I split the structure and try to explain the name. So whenever you're reading about any chemical, read synonyms also. That will help you in um, in understanding the question. Active ingredient in the nematicide, nemagon or fumazole. So these are the worms. So basically it is used to kill worms which are affecting your plants. Okay, roots, everything. Right? Soil fumigant formerly used in American. That's right. Because of the increasing population in the world, in order to meet basic food necessities, we need to use these soil fumigants, or else we will never able to feed all the population which is currently in the world. Compounds used as fumigants are usually non-selective, highly reactive, and cytotoxic. Very important thing what we have to understand is that these chemicals know, they do not know which cells to attack, which cells not to attack. So they are non-selective. Okay, they will affect basically when you're applying onto the soil, they will definitely affect worms, everything. But at the same time, if the applicator, okay, the agriculture worker who is if is not wearing a proper protective apron or clothing, there is a source of exposure from this. That's why I'm saying it is non-selective, highly reactive. Even in soil amounts also it is very highly and short-term exposure, and it is cytotoxic. Okay, the next they provide a potential hazard primarily for the applicators. Okay, now we have already discussed from the standpoint of inhalation exposure and to a minor degree for dermal exposure or ingestion in case of solid or liquids. So basically, in the previous slide, you might have seen that while applying, definitely they will wear protective shield, everything. But still, there is a large exposure is through inhalation. Okay, if by chance somebody removes their mask, or sometimes when you are wearing your apron, if you just your hand get exposed when you up the sleeves, no, there is a possibility of getting minor exposure to dermal exposure. And by chance if you remove your blouse and you accidentally put it in your eyes or mouth or nose, there is a possibility of exposure is saying. This is how the occupational exposure again is a very separate topic. So we'll see in upcoming videos. Fumigants residues in food commodities are usually extremely low. Okay, most of the time these food products are very cleaned, then only they enter into the market. But even if there is a, which is very low, it is saying. Several fumigants used in the past are no longer marketed because of the toxicological concern. As and when you keep on using these fumigants, no, once they came into the market, and if you find certain incidents, they will be banned. They will be removed from the market. That's what this point is saying. So carbon disulfide, which is neurotoxic. So probably these are the examples of the fumigants which have been banned from the market. So CS2, which is causing neurotoxic nerve damage. CCl4, which is a hepatotoxicant. It is a potent liver toxicant. And our question contains this option 1,2-dibromo 3 chloropropane, which is a male reproductive toxicant. Specifically, see, gender specific. It is not affecting female. It is affecting male. And ethylene dibromide, which is actually a dye. It is also causing carcinogen. Okay, let's understand in detail what is dibromochloropropane. It causes male sterility at high level exposure in mammals. Mammals means including human beings. DBCT, it will decrease male fertility, oligospermia, low sperm count, and azoospermia, which is lack of sperm. First of all, sperm will formation of sperms is less, and even if it is more, low sperm count is a very small count you can see. DBCP banned in 1979 by the US EPA. You read about this US EPA regulatory body also, and 79 this particular fumigate was banned. The continuing presence of DBCP as a contaminant in groundwater remains a problem for many communities. Yeah, again you have to understand bio persistence. Even if it was banned in 79, if you still take samples today as of now, you still find those samples in the soil or nearby water bodies, or in the groundwater. Okay, this is the best examples of persistence of chemicals because of their, you can say they have lipophilicity or some kind of chemical physicochemical favorable property will be there, because of which they still remain in the soil or water samples even after the, what is the source of even after the stoppage of applicant, I mean to say. Okay, there are several lawsuits here. I will not discuss those lawsuits, but majorly they cause sterilization in the male. Okay. Then male reproductive effects were consistent with animal experiments showing DBCP even in rabbits they found sterilization was seen. Animals and shrinking of testicles they have found because of DBCP. So previous slide also we have seen that it was majorly banned because of the effect on the male reproductive system. Okay. DBCP residues have persisted in contaminated soil and groundwater long after application. Even after stoppage of application, you can still find those in the soil and groundwater. So this is a typical example, case in agriculture areas. This is particular place in California, Turlock in Central Valley of DBCP was applied in 70s, but today still if you take samples, you still find as late as 1989, persistence was reported in groundwater used for beneficial purposes. Numerous nearby wells had to be shut down at that time. See, that much groundwater contamination you can find. So liver toxicant, it causes hepatotoxicity from occupational exposure, which is a secondary effect. Primary effect is male reproductive system. In animal studies or in humans after ingestion, reproductive system, yes, it has been classified as class 2B carcinogen, possible class 2B carcinogen by IARC. Again, I would request you to go back and read about IARC, International Agency for Research of Cancer. Is there another regulatory body is there, you can say, which will conduct certain cancer studies, and they will classify these chemicals as either 1A, 2B, like the classification will be there. So few questions on IARC classification also you might come across in your exam. And NTP is also another regulatory agency, you can say, National Toxicology Program. So these regulatory agencies also select certain few chemicals which are used in high abundance, and there are certain cases possibility of causing cancer, means they will do NTP 2 year bioassay, cancer bioassays they will be conduct. Sometimes they will do genotoxic assays also. So you can explore this NTP database also. So by this NTP also, they have classified this DBCP as anticipated human carcinogen. Okay, so let's go to next slide. So we have discussed about the first fumigant. Now we'll discuss about the second fumigant, which is ethylene dibromide. Okay, also known as 1,2-dibromoethane. Ethane is actually what? CH3, CH3. So what they have done is that they have replaced two hydrogens on each carbon with bromine. That's why it's 1,2-dibromoethane. Organic bromine compound. Earlier also was organic compound only. Trace amounts occur naturally in the ocean, where it is probably formed by algae and kelp. Okay, substantial amounts are produced industrially. Widely used this particular fumigant, and it is a controversial fumigant. Why? What are the cases which they have come across that we will see? Used as a pesticide in soil and various crops. The applications were initiated after the forced retirement. Once the DBCP was banned, then this chemical came into this fumigant came into larger use in the market. Most of these uses have been stopped. Again, this particular thing was also banned from usage, but still nowadays still they are used as a fumigant for treatment of logs, not for as a agriculture this thing, but they are using it for log, for termites and beetles, and for control of moths in case of beehives. So we'll see what are the adverse health effects of this ethylene dibromide. 1,2-dibromethane causes changes in the metabolism and severe destructions of the living tissue. So the known empirical LD50 value is 140 mg per kg rat oral, and dermal is 300 mg per kg. Um, Go and read about LD50 values also. Okay, not with respect to this particular chemical, but what I am trying to say is that there are three guidelines are there: OECD 420, OECD 423, OECD 425, and there are statistically derived LD50 is there, empirical. So you try to understand what are the difference between this LD50. Okay, let's not deviate from the topic. Let's go back to 1,2-dibromoethane, which is a known carcinogen. Earlier was possible carcinogen or anticipated carcinogen. This is a known carcinogen with the pre 1977 exposure levels, ranking it as the most carcinogenic substance on the HERP index. Now you have to understand what is HERP index. HERP index is nothing but human exposure rodent potency index. Okay, basically these systems ranks the likelihood of a chemical causing cancer. Okay, it is based on how much of a chemical causes tumors to grow in experimental animals, and this typically uses TD50 as a measure of potency. So if you want to understand what is HERP index, go back and read in detail. Animal studies show short-term exposure to high levels caused depression, collapse, and effects on the brain. So important thing is that ethylene dibromide, it is affecting it is causing effects on the adverse effects on the brain. Changes in the brain and behavior in young rats whose male parents have been breathed. Okay, now you have to understand. There was a male worker, male agriculture worker, you can say. He was exposed to 1,2-dibromoprotein. Okay, sorry, 1,2-dibromoethane. He was working. He went back to his family. Okay, uh, I'm trying to explain the case study. So the I mean to say his children, they were affected with the effect on brain and behavior. Okay, so when they did the experiment, they found that there were changes in the brain and behavior in the young rats whose male parents have breathed 1,2-dibromoethane. Okay, birth defects were observed in young of animals, and they were that were exposed while they're pregnant. Female is not exposed, male is exposed. He is having a mating with the female, and their children are getting the. See, this is a typical example of a segment one study, first generation toxicity, you can say. 1,2-dibromomethane is known to cause birth defect in humans. Oh, swallowing has caused death up to 40 ml doses. If you take, you will definitely die with this particular solvent. That is what it is saying. So let's see, inhalation exposure to 1,2-dibromo 3-chloropropane caused cancer of the nasal cavity, adenocarcinoma, carcinoma. This is important. This is our question. squamous cell carcinoma in both rats and mice. So if you know this statement, you will be able to address that question. This 1,2-dibromo 3-chloropropane, it increased the combined incidence of benign as well as malignant tumors in the case of lung. Okay, these are the various types of lung cancer in mice and both sexes, and pharynx, squamous cell papilloma and carcinoma in female rats. It caused benign tumors of tongue, squamous cell papilloma in rats and both sexes, and adrenal gland cortical adenoma in female rats. So this particular thing is taken from NTP 1982 and AARC in 1991. These references also I am trying to give you because you can go back and check. Okay, and you can also read these particular pages. Claessens page 323, 388. These are pages I have clearly mentioned. You can pause the video and check these one. Ethylene dibromide is a chemical that is likely to cause cancer in humans. So, right, and it's been shown to cause cancer in animals, and it is been linked to tumors in multiple organs in. So not only it is causing squamous cell carcinoma, probably lung cancer, other cancers also it is causing. EDB has been shown to cause cancer in skin, lung, nose, stomach, liver, rats, and mice. Okay. And the US Department of Health Services, again, you go back, pause the video, you can go back and read about this particular department. Okay, considers EDB as a probable human carcinogen. Drinking water also, US has set in some standard limits for EDB to protect against cancer, so that they don't want a normal population to get exposed to the water which is contaminated with EDB. Okay, so this is the typical structure of you can see squamous cell carcinoma in rats with invasion into submucosa as well as muscularis. Okay, this is, you can see squamous cell carcinoma. See, actually it should contain single layer only, but once it start proliferating into deeper into the more multiplication of the cancerous cells, it is taking place. Let's read this one. Pleomorphic squamous epithelial cells arising from the epidermis and extending into the dermis. Okay, and this is central keratinization surrounded by concentric layers of abnormal squamous cells, keratin pearl. So these are the hallmarks of the squamous cell carcinoma. This one, and protrusion, and what is it, extending into deeper this epidermal layer into the dermis layer. Okay, these are the hallmarks. So those people who are reading histopathology of these particular squamous cells, these are the ways they can identify this type of cancer. Okay, so this you can see that squamous cell carcinoma usually persists as uh, presents as an indurated nodular keratinization or crusted tumor that may ulcerate or may present as an ulcer without evidence of keratinization. Okay, this is a typical normal cancer is like this. Now you can see how it is protruding. Hope through this video you will able to understand what are fumigants. Okay, types of fumigants we have learnt. We have learnt about the two fumigants, EDB as well as the CDP, and we were also able to understand what other common fumigants and type of cancers and certain regulatory agencies also we were able to learn through this video. So, so thank you so much. If you have be curious for any questions, please comment. You can write down a mail to arya.priyanka18@gmail.com. Okay, like, subscribe, and follow my YouTube channel, Toxicology on Board. All the best for your exam.